Moderna used Claude to process 60,000 pages of FDA drug approval documents. That is not the interesting part. The interesting part is what the fact-check gate looks like when getting it wrong kills people. The Moderna use case is not AI writes drug documents. It is AI extracts structured data from clinical trial reports, and every extracted claim is deterministically verified against the source document before it enters the submission. The AI does the reading and structuring. The verification gate is not probabilistic. A wrong number in a BLA does not cause a blog correction, it delays a drug approval, or causes a post-market safety failure. The gate architecture is the story. What a biologics license application is. A BLA is the full regulatory submission for a biologic drug, a vaccine, an antibody therapy, a cell therapy. It is typically 50,000 to 150,000 pages. It must contain every clinical trial result, every adverse event, every manufacturing step and quality control specification, the full chemistry of the biologic, and a statistical analysis package. Every claim must be traceable to a source document. The FDA reviewer reads the submission and decides whether the drug is safe and effective. An error that makes the submission look better than it is could result in approval of a drug that shouldn't be approved. The pipeline Moderna built. Claude reads each section of the clinical study reports, thousands of individual documents, and extracts claims into a structured schema. The schema requires a source field, which table, which figure, which study number does this claim come from. A deterministic parser then checks, does that source exist in the submission? Does the number in the source match the number Claude extracted? If either check fails, the claim is flagged for human review. Claude extracts, logic verifies, humans review flags. The AI is the reader. The gate is deterministic. The fact-check gate architecture for regulated AI. 3 levels. Level 1, schema validation. Does the output conform to the required structure? Automated, runs on every output. Level 2, source verification. Does every claim cite a real source and does the source match the claim? Automated, runs on every output. Level 3, expert review. A subject matter expert reviews a sample of outputs and all flagged items. This is the human judgment layer. In regulated pharma, the expert is typically a clinical pharmacologist or a regulatory affairs specialist. Level 3 is mandatory. You cannot skip it for AI outputs regardless of how good levels 1 and 2 look. The scale argument. Before AI, a BLA submission took a regulatory affairs team of 20 to 40 people between 1 and 3 years to compile. The bottleneck was reading the clinical study reports, often tens of thousands of pages of raw trial data, and extracting the relevant claims accurately. A senior regulatory writer could process roughly 50 pages per hour of deep clinical material. 60,000 pages at 50 pages per hour. With 2 passes for verification is 2,400 hours of senior expert reading time. That is more than a year of one person's full-time work for the reading step alone. Risk calibration across domains. Not every AI output in a regulated domain has the same risk profile. Extracting a clinical trial endpoint result from a completed study report and matching it to a source table is low risk. The source is fixed, the check is binary. Generating a clinical interpretation of that result, deciding what it means for the drug's benefit-risk profile, is high risk and requires human judgment. The mistake organizations make is treating the pipeline as monolithic. Different steps have different risk profiles. The gate intensity should match the risk level of the specific step, not the general domain. The pattern generalizes. Any domain where getting it wrong has serious consequences. Legal, financial, medical, structural engineering, aviation maintenance needs the same architecture. AI for reading, extraction, and structuring at scale. Deterministic verification of every claim against a source. Expert human review of a sample plus all flags. The AI accelerates the low-value, high-volume reading work. Humans do the high-value, low-volume judgment work. The gate architecture is not pharma-specific. It is regulated AI-specific. Here is what the evidence shows. Your turn, take one regulated or high-stakes process in your domain, something where a wrong output has real consequences. Map the steps. For each step, what is the risk level? Is it read and extract, low risk, AI primary, or interpret and judge, high risk, human primary? Design the gate for the highest risk step first. If you cannot design a deterministic verification step for an AI output in your domain, that step is not ready for AI primary execution. That is the answer. Moderna used Claude for 60,000 pages of FDA documents. Here's what that actually means.